problem statement states that where we have participants as logistic officer, depot manager, and supplier or auditor, where they each of the participants will be given with a separate account address, and they will be connected to the MetaMask wallet or any wallet of blockchain. For each participants, they'll have separate use cases or separate instructions where logistic officer will be able to register the asset and change the supplier, and depot manager will be able to track that as where the asset is moving, and auditor will be able to event log or audit if whether the assets are in correct number or quantity or etc. And they all will be connected to the Sepolia testnet, and the details and transaction everything will be stored into the IPFS or cloud uh, for entire transaction history. For asset tracking, we can also include defense ERP or IoT trackers to audit the asset with live locations. Now, if we go to the Solidity program, which we have here, the Solidity program, as I had mentioned earlier, will contain three addresses separately. Logistic officer will be given a separate address, depot manager will be given a separate address, and agency auditor will be given a separate address, which will be shown in the MetaMask according to their names mentioned. So once, but while deploying the account, we are choosing this account, this particular address where this is not at all mentioned here. This address is separate, which is used for just deploying, So once we deploy, this contract will automatically get created once if the address that we have selected is giving verification. Just a second. Oh, since Sepolia ethers are very less, it is asking for more funds. So what we have to do is we have to go to the MetaMask address and add funds required for that particular address. So for now, if we cancel this transaction, it will get cancelled. For adding the funds, we'll have to use Google Faucet. After selecting the particular address, go to addresses, select this Ethereum address, and once we go to Google Faucet, Google Sepolia Faucet, we'll be able to add amount that is required. For example, if we give that particular address into Ethereum Sepolia wallet address and get 0.505 Sepolia Ethereum, the Ethereum will automatically get transacted. Now transaction is complete. Now we'll try this again. So after deploying once again, creation of defense logistic is taking place. Now since there are enough funds, it is asking for confirm button. Once we give confirm, the contract will automatically get deployed. Now the contract got automatically deployed. Once we check here, we'll get the contract address and contract details that has been deployed right now. Under logs, we'll have all the transactions that has been updated. This particular contract address is, you can see over here, once the contract is confirmed, we'll get a contract address that will be mentioned over here. Yeah, now you can see the verification is successful and blocks out has been generated. Now if we view this again, we'll get the contract address. Under logs, we can see under details, you can see that there's been status has been success and the contract address is generated over here. Contract address is mentioned over here. This is the contract address that is deployed. So under deployed contract address, if you see, we'll have options like audit asset, change supplier, register asset, and transfer audit. Sorry, transfer asset. So register asset will be an option that is only applicable to logistic officer. Only logistic officer can make changes to this particular option, where he will be the only person who can register asset, and also he will be the only person who have the control to change the supplier as well. So now we are registering the asset one, and we'll give example as drones and supplier as tech. And IPFS we have to generate that we'll be seeing in the website, which is present over there. Now, if we go to Windows PowerShell and if we use this command, we'll be able to add the documents to the IPFS, and will be generated with the hash value as mentioned over there. Now we have to paste that hash value over here, and note we have to enter like initial batch of supply. And once if we give transact, it will show an error like only logistic officer. Since here the account that has been selected is government address, it won't get transacted. The option is only applicable for logistic officer. So we'll select the address of the logistic officer 3BE. Now if we transact again, just a second. No, we'll have to deploy it again since it got reloaded. Just a second. Now the deployed contract is over here. Now under register asset, we can enter the asset details. For example, one name of the asset drones, supplier, ad tech, INC. The IPFS, we can paste it as its notice initial batch deploy. So after selecting that particular address, which is 843, I think, just a second, 84B is the account that is starting 84B is over here. After selecting that particular address, we'll be able to do the transaction now. That is, we'll be able to get the confirmation from the logistic officer that this asset has to be registered in the blockchain. So now after the logistic officer gives confirmation, this particular asset will automatically get registered to the blockchain. So now, once we go over here and go to the blocks out, we'll be able to see the registered asset under the logs menu. If you go to the logs here, we'll be able to see the registered asset. That is asset ID, name of the asset, supplier of the asset, and IPFS hash that has been generated after uploading the file, and current holder address of that particular asset and time taken to add this asset. Now we'll go back to the Solidity program to view other further changes. Now we'll check with the function of changing supplier for asset ID 1. for asset ID 1. The old supplier is named as Artec INC. Now we'll give it as Defense INC. Once if we transact, again we'll be asked with the permission or confirmation from the logistic officer to do this particular transaction. So further, if we confirm again, it's taking a lot of time. Just a second. Now further, if we confirm again, like the transaction has been verified. Now if we go to the blocks out again, we'll be able to view the change that has taken place. Earlier it was with the address or it was with the name as Artec INC. Now after changing, it will get changed to Defense INC. Under logs, still it's showing pending confirmation. We'll check it in the debug window. If we go to the debug window, you scroll down, we'll be able to see the change that has been taken. See, earlier it was Artec INC, now it is Defense Tech INC. And the value has been changed into the that particular transaction as well. Reload it. See, under logs, we'll be able to view the necessary changes that has taken place. See, earlier old supplier name was Artec INC and the new supplier name is Defense INC. That has been changed for the asset one. So similarly, we can do multiple assets and transactions of multiple times wherever we want to change the or register any asset or change the suppliers of the particular asset that has been delivered. Now we'll see the option of transferring the asset. For this particular option, we have to select the account of depot manager to transfer the asset from one place to another. The address of the depot manager start with 8434. So if you further select that particular address, we'll be able to get access to this particular option. Transfer asset from one and the new holder of the asset. Now currently the address has been with the government since we deployed the entire contract using the government address. So we'll give this entire asset to some other person with this particular address 580. So he will be the owner of the new particular holder or new particular asset. Now new status is asset transfer. Similarly, note also we will give the same. Now, if we go back and select the address of the depot manager, which is 8434, and if we give permission for transaction, we'll be able to view the MetaMask permission again for the confirmation of the depot manager to give the permission to add the or make the changes to the asset one into the blockchain. We'll wait for the confirmation message over here, after which we'll be able to see the changes that has taken place in the blocks out. So we got a confirmation message. Now if we go to blocks out, we'll be able to change the changes. See, here also we can say that for the asset one, the new address holder is the particular mentioned address and status of this is asset transfer. So if we go over here and see to the logs, we'll be able to see from this particular address, the entire asset has been transferred to this address. And asset transfer has taken place. So this is the options that we have implemented, and also we have audit asset. This is for auditing the assets that are registered in the blockchain. For that particular option, we'll have to select the account starting with AC, which is the account of agency auditor. After mentioning over here, we'll just mention asset one is being audited. This is for just noting down that or checking or giving a confirmation to the government that the asset has been audited. So this particular option is only enabled by the agency auditor, enabled for the agency auditor. And once the agency auditor gives the permission to confirm the particular change or verifying the particular asset is being audited, is being updated over here. Once we go here, once the confirmation is done, we'll view it on the blog. So under transaction detail, under logs, we'll be able to see the changes that asset has been audited. You can see over here, the asset has been audited. Audited, auditor note, and time taken for this particular asset to be audited. So that's all. Now, if we go to further options, we'll be having agency auditor. This is for just calling out the address of the agency auditor. And similarly, depot manager, if we call it, is for calling the address of the depot manager. And this is for calling out the address for logistic officer. And once we click, we'll get the address of the deployer. That is the government address. Now over here, we can find out the asset records. So asset records, we'll get what are the assets that has been there. For example, if we give asset ID 1, we'll get the records of that particular ID. Similarly, get asset. So if we give 1 as the asset ID, we'll get what all are the assets that has been downloaded. These both options are similar to each other, asset records and asset get asset. Asset history is something which will tell you what are the changes that has taken place to that particular address. For example, we can see here registered at this particular time, initial batch has been deployed. That is the one change that we have taken place, and supplier has been changed one time, and that particular change has taken this much time. And defense INC asset has been transferred. That we did by using the depot manager after transferring the asset. And finally, the asset has been audited. Now, all these options has been implemented into the website, according to each time when the MetaMask is being connected to that particular account. For example, now the MetaMask is connected to the government account. Now, if we go back and connect it to the logistic account, it will show the options that are available or that are mentioned in the contract for this particular logistic officer account. Once the logistic officer account is being selected, logistic officer will be able to view the asset details. Also, you'll be able to register new asset. That option is also available. And this is the history timeline that is viewable by all the government officials who all are in the particular contract. For example, logistic officer, auditor, or defense manager, depot manager. And this is the asset details that can be viewed. And over here, this can be updated each time by pasting the contract address that is generated after implementing or deployment of each contract. For example, if we paste this contract address, the website will automatically load with the particular records and particular deployed or transaction that has taken place into that particular address. We connect to this and view asset ID again and view. We'll get the ID of that particular asset that has taken place. That's all for now. And this is the implementation part of the defense logistic management system or supply chain system, where the blockchain helps us to implement and hold or hold the records in immutable way, where it won't be able to tampered or it won't be able to what to say it cannot be altered or changed by any other person other than the ones who are holding that particular address or holding the instruction of that particular contract. Thank you.